Do have a couple of announcements here right at the top. Today, the State Department notified Congress on our reorganization plan to build an America First State Department capable of meeting the challenges of the 21st century. In addition, over the last few days, Secretary Rubio has announced new visa policies that put America first. I'm sure none of you have any questions about those. The State Department is determined to protect Americans' right to free speech and to counter the malign influence and actions of the Chinese Communist Party. The bottom line, we are using and will continue to use every tool in our tool chest to make sure that we know who it is who wants to come into this country and if they should be allowed to come in. Every sovereign nation has a right to secure its borders and to make sure they know who is in their nation and if they are safe to be here.
And then just on the visa restriction policy announced yesterday over the censoring of Americans, can you provide any specific examples of what actions prompted the U.S. to institute this policy? And when might we expect any visa restrictions to be implemented?
In a case like this, you're looking at a policy that is a reflection of what the Trump administration and the American people care about, which is the idea of Americans being censored. We experienced this through COVID, the nature of our ability to be able to speak our minds. And while I won't give you or can give you or would give you specifics about how this particular restriction would be approached, which is not done in a blanket way, right? That there's individuals who are flagged or who are seen as being a participant in some aspect of the censorship of Americans. What I can say is that all of what you see emanating from the Trump administration and the State Department is a reflection of the policy of this administration and what the American people want and expect.
On the cable that went out on Tuesday, it said they expected this expanded social media vetting guidance for visa applicants to go out in the coming days. Are you still tracking that timeline, and give us any guidance on what that is going to look like?
Yes, I can't give you a specific timeline, but there will be more information. What I can say is that in general, because that was an internal communication that was leaked, at the same time, we have confirmed that the details are accurate. Also, the Trump administration is focused on protecting our nation and our citizens by upholding the highest standards of national security and public safety through the visa process specifically. Every adjudication, as I noted to you, is a national security decision. And a visa, as a reminder, is not a privilege. It's a privilege. It's not a right. It's not a birthright. It's not something that you're owed, no matter where you come from. Every prospective traveler to the United States undergoes interagency security vetting. And this is important with these conversations because it seems like only certain groups are facing vetting with visas. Every single person does. So I would say that, yes, you're going to get more information. And this is, as a result, not an interminable kind of end. There is an end point, and it should be rather quick, as consulates and embassies make adjustments when it comes to how they handle
Can we expect
visas.
the appointments to open back up immediately after that guidance goes out to posts?
Well, one thing I can tell you, a few things I can say is people can still make their application, do their regular steps, but it's a two-step process, right? You apply, and then you have to get an appointment to meet with people, to talk with them. Unlike often with the passport or something, there's a very specific process. So right now, there might be some delay.
I mean, is it still a priority for the administration to encourage students to come to the United States? They have other options. It's been said that Hong Kong, for example, is now saying students at Harvard, doctoral students, have a fast track to go there. Is there any concern that the U.S. is losing a competition? After all, there's $50 billion into the economy of from international.
Yeah, well, people come here because this is where you start new lives, where you have every opportunity in the world. There's a reason why people come here. It's because of what the country represents. Yes, the excellence of our schools, and we want to keep it that way. We want parents who send their children, whether they be from a different country or America, to an American university, that they can recognize their child when that child returns home. And that child actually has skills and an education that can improve their future, that can get them a job, that can help facilitate the dreams that they've had, as opposed to political indoctrination or the idea of just activism or a certain political framework that they move out with. This should be an education that is literally liberal, The idea that you learn things that help facilitate your life no matter where you come from, who you are, if you're a Jew or a non-believer or an atheist or black or white or a woman. We've been through this in this country for the last 2 to 3 generations. And our focus is making sure that everyone who does want to send their child to a school in this country can do so knowing that they're going to be safe. They're going to be able to get into a building and not held hostage in a library because it's been occupied, or that they're going to be able to actually learn things that you're paying that kind of money for. So yes, it not only should encourage more people, for those who are already here, it's certainly an important dynamic for believing and understanding that your child's going to be safe and that you're going to get something that you've paid for, more than a social activist who lives in your basement.
Acceptance by Israel of a ceasefire for Gaza. What you can fill in about that? Does it include expanding food deliveries? Does it include the South as well as the North? And do you know whether Hamas has signed on to this? And is Qatar or Oman?
Well, we know there's been a proposal put forward that seems to be promising. We are unaware of Hamas accepting it, but we do believe that it has some significant promise. We would, of course, as you might imagine, it's been a goal of the administration to get all the hostages out, certainly the bodies that are being held. And so, and I believe that Caroline addressed this too, I think, earlier. Yes, so there is some optimism, some important optimism, but the aspect regarding Hamas and its position is unknown at this point. But I think that there's some optimism regarding what has been proposed.
And do you know if this came from Mr. Woodcock and Germer and the other envoys who were here from Israel this week?
Well, I believe that certainly Special Envoy Woodcock, as he's been involved in most issues and our successes, but at this point, we're still waiting to get some kind of a final point put on that. Which would allow even more humanitarian aid to move in, and certainly the return of hostages and bodies. This is what we always are working on, and we're excited that this might be a good development. All right.
You know, Caroline just said now actually that both the Israelis and agreed to it, and they're waiting for.
Yes, that's correct. So this is when we say this in optimism, it means Israel's agreed. All right. So we're in a very good position, I think.
But as you know, the president said he wants to see an end to this war. Is this any U.S. guarantee that actually they're going to discuss the end of the war after the 60-day ceasefire? Because every time they reach that stop and the ceasefire collapse is because...
Well, the ceasefires don't collapse. Ceasefires are ignored by Hamas, and they're broken by Hamas. They don't just collapse under their weight. Every moment, though, even without a ceasefire and without agreements like this, there's the constant effort to get this heinous situation to end, and not just for the moment, not for the 60 days or 6 months. That is the hallmark of President Trump's vision and what the secretaries worked for, what our special envoys have worked for. Special Envoy Woodcock could be, just like President Trump, enjoying a very comfortable life somewhere else. But these are men and women who've made this kind of commitment. So I would say that obviously the end goal is an end. But ending the murders, the slaughter, the carnage, and getting people what they need is key. And that, of course, you can't. It's different, and I think Zelensky had noted this as well, right? I mean, you can't talk about peace as you're being shot at and killed. I mean, it's one thing has to be able to lead to the other. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense.